Hello, my name is Steve, and I'm from the Youth Cultural Corps. The Youth Cultural Corps are a group of teenagers who tell foreigners our culture and history. Today, I would like to introduce you to the 환구단.
I'm Junso.
And I am Park Seo-jin.
We're in front of the 환구단, and this is one of the most important places in the Joseon dynasty. This was where Gojong became an emperor and declared the Daehan Empire. It is also a place where we performed ritual services to the sky. The first ritual service took place in here. Tangun, who was the founder of Joseon, had his first ritual service in this place. There are two types of Joseon in our history. The one that took place hundreds and hundreds of centuries ago, and the one in the 14th century. We call the older Joseon Go-Joseon, meaning the older or the old Joseon. The ritual service to the sky could only be performed by emperors. Until Gojong declared himself an emperor, all the kings were just kings. They were not emperors, so they could not perform ritual services to the sky. But the kings did the ritual service to the god of the land and the god of the plants, meaning they wished a better environment for farming. Now I would like to talk more specifically about King Gojong becoming an emperor. This is King Gojong when he was a king. And after he declared himself an emperor, he looked like this. When he declared himself an emperor in 1897, it was in the front page of the Korean newspaper. All the people were thrilled because their country finally became an emperor, and they became equal with China and all the other countries they used to serve. There was also one thing that became different. You can see this pot, and it is called the tumu. This was used to store water that could use to put out fires. When fire spirits come to the palace, they would look into this pot and see the reflection of their ugly face, and they would run away. If you see closely, you could see two Chinese characters over here. This word is manse, which means hooray in Korean. But before we used this word, we used a similar word called chunse. But chunse was used by the lower people, and manse could be used by the people in high places. It is similar to the different accents in English. But after Gojong declared himself an emperor, the people could use the word manse. So when they did the March 1st movement, they shouted Daehan Dongnip Manse, which means hooray for Korea's independence. Sadly, this is not the whole of the 환구단. It was the part of the 환구단 used to be used to be here, but it was used as a hotel in the Japanese invasion. Now that hotel is the famous Joseon Hotel.
In 1894, there was the Peasant Revolution. And because of the Peasant Revolution, the Chinese and the Japanese military came to Korea. The revolution has stopped, but the Chinese and the Japanese military still stayed at Korea. And they even had a war. The Japanese won, so the Chinese went back home. The Japanese started to give pressure to the Joseon dynasty, and they wanted the Joseon dynasty to become their colonial nation. So, to prevent that, Queen Myeongsong made friends with the Russians, so the Japanese could not touch them very easily. So they thought we should kill the Queen of Joseon. So at early in the morning, at 5 a.m., the Japanese military went to the Queen's living quarters. And this is how the Queen was killed. At first, she was pulled over here at the first mark, and then she was burned down here. They buried her over here or here. The Japanese military thought it was a perfect kill, and they thought nobody saw them. But a lot of people saw them. King Kojong, the crown prince, the American Dai, and the Russian Sabatin, and the other palace people who were working at this place saw the Japanese killing Queen Myeongsong. And at 1896, Kojong was afraid that he also could be killed. He went to the Russian embassy. But because of a lot of people of the Joseon dynasty wanted Kojong to come back to Korea, and because of other political reasons, Kojong came back after 1 year at 1897. When he came back, he changed his name to Emperor and changed the country name to Empire. And at 1905, the Japanese and the Joseon dynasty made an unfair treaty. And Kojong wanted to appeal that this is an unfair treaty. He sent three people to the Second Hague World Peace Conference. When the three people went to Hague, there were no seats for them. And one of them, called Lee-jun, was so mad, he died there. And the Japanese knew that Kojong sent these three people. The Japanese wanted Kojong to make responsibility and lend the throne to his own son. Kojong balked at first, but he was completely tricked to give his own throne to his own son. The people cheered and there was a ceremony, but these two people, Kojong and Sunjong, did not attend.
Now, I will introduce about architecture of this building. During the Joseon period, people thought that the sky is circle and the ground is rectangular. Can you see this image? Like this, people thought that sky is circle and the ground is rectangular. However, the place where king prayed to the sky was circle, and the place where prayed to the ground was rectangular. However, the roof shape of this building is not a circle and the rectangular. The shape of this roof is octagon. That's because people thought that octagon connects the sky and the ground. Imagine that you have a rectangular, and if you cut the rectangular to make it to the circle, it will become an octagon before it becomes a circle. So that's why people thought that the octagon connects the sky and the ground. Can you see the small clay toes on the roof? People thought that small clay toes protects buildings from evil spirits, which comes from the sky. The name of the small clay toes are japsang. Japsang comes from Chinese novel Journey to the West. This is image of Journey to the West. Like this, the Monkey King, Buddhist monk, Pig Monster, and the imaginary water ghost became a one team and beats the evil spirits. So that's why people thought that small clay toes protects buildings from evil spirits, which comes from the sky. People thought these stone statues also protects buildings from evil spirits. They thought these stone statues protects buildings from evil spirits, which comes from the ground and the water. This is image of this place during the Joseon period. Like this, there was one more circle building next to this building. However, now there are none. That's because during the Japanese colonial era, it was destroyed by the Japan. And now the hotel is built at this place instead. Cause we can see inside, well, I will show you an image. This is image of inside this building. This is end of our guide. It is true that there was a lot of tragic histories when this building was built. However, I think that's why this building's historical value gets higher. Because this building shows the independence will against the foreign powers. Thanks for listening well. I hope you to have nice time in the Korea. Thank you.